What is going on, everyone? Leon checking in, and we're at it again with another episode. Although this episode is slightly different, I wanted to actually do a true podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you get to stare at my face for I don't know how long, but we're going to be talking about a few things here. And what I'm looking forward to the most is normally when I make a YouTube video, it's more scripted. This, I have an idea of a script in my head, but it's more natural. We're going to go with the flow. And we're going to have some topics that are actually connected. So for example, if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see that I'm wearing a Mortal Kombat hat. I tend to wear these in my videos. I tend to wear them when I'm working out, and that's because I am a big Mortal Kombat fan. And I can't wait for the next Mortal Kombat. You've probably heard about it. I'm very excited about it. There's other games like Street Fighter. I tried Street Fighter, but Mortal Kombat is more my vibe. Plus, just the title alone, Mortal Kombat, it's why I wear a Mortal Kombat hat. It relates to actual life. You know, we're going through this process of where we're fighting every day. It's the fight. It's the combat against mortality. And that's why I like to wear the hat when I'm working out. I like to have a Mortal Kombat mindset. Every day is Mortal Kombat. But like, how does that relate to this video? Well, if you are watching the video, again, I am a gamer. I love playing Mortal Kombat. And I've got the HP Omen 16 here. And this is a beast. This thing is thick. It's heavy. It's a gaming laptop. It works really well. It's really cool. I always wanted a gaming laptop, and I finally got into it. And it's everything that I imagined. It's really cool. But I'm also a Chromebook guy, and we have school coming up here. And I have had Chromebooks. I've had a Samsung Chromebook, which I dropped a long time ago. We actually have a video about that. And then that led to my next Chromebook, which was the Google Pixelbook. Very beautiful. I think it's one of the best Chromebooks I ever had. But unfortunately, it seems that died recently, which I can't be too upset about because we're looking at a 6 to 7 year run. I bought that when it was first released, and it's held up very well. And then from there, I went to the Google Pixelbook Go. Then we've got the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 5. Those are good devices. But as I'm learning when I go through these devices, I'm learning what I like and what I don't like, mainly when it comes to form factor. And the Google Pixelbook Go and the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 5, they're good devices, but they're not my device. And then we went to the HP Chromebase, the HP 21.5 Rotatable Chromebase. And I love that. I love that. So when it comes to Chromebooks, what I love the most is the 2-in-1 form factor. You get the regular laptop design, kind of like what you see here with a gaming laptop, but then you can fold it over and it becomes a tablet. I don't know if I'm actually demonstrating folding over correctly in a video. This might not be making sense, but I love that, which is why I love the Google Pixelbook. That Pixelbook was amazing. And the Google Pixelbook Go never really lived up to that because it was just like a regular laptop and it felt cheaper. And it just didn't really do the job. And then we went to the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 5. It felt good. It was good quality. But even though it had that 2-in-1 form factor, it had a detachable keyboard. So there were some situations where it was actually awkward. Like you couldn't use it on your lap securely. I have a laptop stand here, and you can't use it on this beautiful laptop stand because it would fall off, and then you damage most likely the expensive tablet portion. So that was a no-go. And it was just this device, like, is it trying to be a laptop or is it trying to be a tablet? And it's a good device, but it's like, it's kind of too wide, too cumbersome to like do tablet things. But you attach the keyboard and it has these setbacks where it can't actually be a laptop. So that there was that situation there. And then we had the HP 21.5 inch rotatable Chromebase, and I love this device. It's very futuristic, and you see other things like it. Like Samsung has this arc thing that like rotates. That's what the HP 21.5 inch rotatable Chromebase does, except it doesn't have that nice arc. So I like devices like that fold over, which brings us to our next topic in a moment here, the Pixel Fold, because that folds. So we've got folding Chromebooks, which it's not entirely new because laptops always fold it, but a Chromebook kind of like folds over on itself. Then you have the HP 21.5 inch rotatable Chromebase, and that rotates. So we've got rotatables. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. But we're talking about it. We're talking about it. And this is the future. So anyways, why are we talking about Chromebooks? Well, because my Google Pixelbook failed, and then we had the Google Pixelbook Go. That has started having issues. One of the charge ports doesn't work, and again, I don't really love the form factor. Then we have the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 5. That works good, but I don't like the form factor. The HP Chromebase is very good, but as you can imagine, this is a huge device. It's essentially a desktop. That is what it is. So you can't take it with you. Although that would be fun to imagine somebody taking a HP 21.5 inch rotatable Chromebase with them. I don't know how you do it, but that would be funny to see. It would be a fun thing to watch. So yeah, that being said, Google Pixelbook failed. We have those two devices that don't work for me, and I can't take the HP Chromebase. So I'm in the market for another Chromebook. I'm very excited about it, and we have school starting up, and I'm looking for something gaming oriented. I've been trying to go this route for a while. This has been an interesting experience though, because the plan was to already have it, and we're going to talk more about it, but there were some delays, so I don't have it yet. I don't have the device yet. That was going to be this weekend, so we are waiting on that. But anyways, that's the Chromebook story. That's why I have the HP Omen 16 here. I wanted to have a Chromebook here doing this video. But this does essentially what a Chromebook would do, which is exciting to know because it works the reverse. A Chromebook could do what this is doing right now, which is screen recording the Pixel Fold web page for me, which is what we're going to get into next. So the Google Pixelbook, there's too many pixels going on here. So the Google Pixel Fold, that's what we're getting into next. Okay, I gotta remember, we're changing topics here. Again, this is not scripted, so any mistakes that happen in here, we're just going to leave them because I like this natural flow of things. So Google Pixel Fold, very excited about this device. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to share some thoughts, who this is for, and I've been really waiting for this device too. I want to talk about why I'm going back to the Pixel line. If you've been following the channel for some time, you know that I've got Samsung's fold-in device here. This is the Z Fold 3. I'm actually recording this episode with the Z Fold 4. Cameras are pretty good. There are two reasons I wanted to go back to a Pixel device. I've been meaning to for some time, but there hasn't been anything exciting. Google hasn't done anything exciting, in my opinion, for the last, I don't know how many years since I had a Pixel device. I think the last Pixel device I had was a Google Pixel 4 XL. I really liked it. No, I actually had a Google Pixel 5A, I think. Was it an A at that time? This is how long I've been out of the game. So why am I back into the Pixel line? Well, again, Google's finally doing something exciting. They're bringing something that is controversial, which I really love. I love reading the comments on this stuff about, Google's advertising this as engineered by Google, and people will drop a comment, haha, yeah, that's not a good reason to buy the Pixel Fold. And I can't say I disagree with them. I'm a little nervous about this device from that aspect, because we have to remember Google has let us down. My latest thing I could think of is unfortunately Google Stadia. I was a Founders Edition person. I bought into it. I believed it with good intention because I really did think cloud gaming is the future, and I still think so. And I think Google really could have done it if they had really dedicated themselves to it. But as you can see, they just dropped that. They didn't put their all into it. It felt like a half attempt. Excuse me. It felt like a half attempt. The advertising wasn't there. Just a little sidestep here. I think I need to include water when I'm doing the podcast in the future. And I meant to do that, but I forgot it. But there was just like a half effort into what they were doing. The advertisement wasn't there. And then in the end, they just gave up on it. So you could see this with their other services, their apps that they cancel, features on phones that they cancel. I don't know if anyone remembers. We had the Soli sensor in one of the Google Pixels. I liked it. I actually thought it could be useful from an accessibility aspect for people who might have problems with maybe their fingers or grip or touching, that they could just wave. I thought it was just cool from a music aspect too. I thought it could have been maybe used for many different applications, to control different devices, but that was something that Google gave up on as well. So there is cause to be concerned about this device. But by the way, if you are watching this video or listening to the podcast, we do have an Amazon storefront with an extensive list, and I want to say obsessively organized list of Google Pixel Fold items and related items. And the reason I do this list is because I want you to be able to find everything as easy as possible. In fact, when I get done with this content, I'm going to have to see if there's more Pixel Fold items that came out and add those to the list and organize them. I tried to organize this list so it looks really good. And you can find the link for that Amazon storefront list either in the pinned comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or in the description below, along with other items, other lists within that storefront. And of course, I do earn commissions, so that helps support this content. It helps support the YouTube channel, the podcast. It helps support everything that I do here. It keeps the lights on in this studio. So anyways, Pixel Fold, let's talk about this. So you can see that we have the phone displayed here. It's open. It's in an open state on this web page. One of the things people are talking about when it comes to this device being open, the bezels, they're a little more chunkier than what you'll see on a Z Fold 4 or even a Z Fold 3. You can't really tell here by me showing you the phone because I have a case on it. But that's a thing to consider too. So people will say that those bezels are a little thicker in some areas, too thin in other areas. But I think when you throw a case on it, when it's all said and done, it's really not going to be an issue. I have also heard that there is a ridge between the transition of the display itself and the bezel. Again, this is when the device is unfolded, and we are showing what I believe is called the same thing for the Z Fold series. We are showing the main display. That's the huge display. I think if you're buying a device like this, you're probably looking for productivity purposes here. So you're going to use that main display a lot. And that's where who is this device aimed at? It's aimed at the productivity person when this device is open. I could tell you when I'm using this in the open state, I will have a notepad on one side and maybe podcast going on the other side. Maybe I'll have a banking app on one side and a calculator, or maybe I'll have the banking app, a calculator, and a notepad. It's a very good productivity device if it's going to function just like the Z Fold series. But what I like about this device is that when it's closed, it's going to be more useful than the Z Fold series. The Z Fold has a tall, narrow display. it does the job, but I just wish it was a little wider. The Pixel Fold, when it's folded here, it's, from what my understanding is from people, how they've explained it, is it's going to be shorter and wider. So it's kind of like a chubby phone, a chubby short phone, which I'm fine with, because I could see myself taking the Google Pixel Fold and we plug it into one of our mobile controllers, our collapsible controllers. I think that covered display will have the ideal ratio for a mobile controller versus the narrow and tall cover display of the Z Fold series. So I think this ideally for me is what I wanted. In fact, when I think about other foldables, we've got the Oppo. I don't really know too much about that, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But when I think about the other foldables that we had, what the Google Pixel Fold has ideally done very well, and I don't know if this is talked about much, but what I see here is the Google Pixel Fold took two concepts and threw them together to make this phone. So another phone I was interested in besides the Z Fold series was the Microsoft Duo. I like that one because when it was open, first of all, it opened like a book. I liked the way the display was a little bit better. I never tried one, so in my opinion, it might be too wide for me. And again, I don't know too much about that device. I don't know that it had a cover display. I think it just closed and there was no outside display. I'd have to double check that. But even when it was closed, it had like this ideal ratio. Even if it didn't have a cover display, it had an ideal ratio where it was just sized really nice. But there was the problem that the displays were divided. And I guess Microsoft could never figure that out. And then, the Z Fold went the opposite way. The displays weren't divided. It was more narrow, though. The cover display was narrow. It had the cover display, unlike the Microsoft Duo, if I'm correct, if I'm speaking correct. Let's try to pull up some pictures here. Microsoft Duo 2. Let's see here. So the way it folded, it looked like it had a cover display. It actually, if I'm understanding correctly, it kind of folded like a 2-in-1 Chromebook on itself, and then you had the two displays, I believe. If I'm correct here, it kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like a 2-in-1 concept, where it kind of folds back on itself. And then so I loved this concept. I never got to order in a Duo. I never tried one. I thought it was interesting. I think I never really got to it because it was from Microsoft, and nothing against Microsoft, but I just feel like a dedicated device towards Android that had credibility. It was going to be a Z Fold series. But anyways, back to what we're talking about here. I feel like the Google Pixel Fold kind of combined the Microsoft Duo with its aspect ratio, which gave us the nice form factor. But then it deleted the line like the Z Fold. So it was like throwing the Duo and the Z Fold together, really nice. Plus, we should have some good cameras here. As you can see, we're recording with the Z Fold 4. Cameras are good here. They work really well. I wouldn't expect anything less from the Pixel line. They're known for good cameras, good photos, good videos. But the other reason I wanted to return to the Pixel line is, if we're talking about AI, I'm not sure it's going to make it into this device. But when I think about AI contenders, I don't think Samsung's going to be the top name that you think of. It's going to be Microsoft, which, hopefully they do bring back a Duo. That would be nice. Or it's going to be Google. It's going to be one of those top names. Meta doesn't have a phone. I don't think people would buy a Meta phone with the controversy of privacy around Meta platforms and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be Microsoft or Google. That's the reason I'm going back to the Pixel line. I think Google's going to definitely be a big player in AI. And even though Microsoft is known as the top name for AI, we still got to keep in mind that Google has the largest search audience, I guess you would say. So even if they're kind of playing catch up here with the generative AI, I think Google still is in the game. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. So, anyways, let's go through some pictures here. We've got the back design with the camera module. I love this. It's very simple. Oh, and we also have two colors, by the way. So we've got this porcelain color, and then we have this obsidian. If you've been watching I mean, just look at me. I'm wearing all black right now, okay? Of course, I'm going to go with the obsidian. I love it. It's very dark, sinister. It sounds like Mortal Kombat. Like if there was a Mortal Kombat character and his name was Obsidian. I mean, I'm picking Obsidian, okay? I don't know about you, but I'm not picking porcelain. If these are Mortal Kombat names, we're not picking porcelain, okay? I mean, there could be a good porcelain character, but Obsidian, it sounds more assertive. So we're switched to the obsidian color, but there is that porcelain option if you're interested. Personally, I would love to see more colors here. This is the first generation though, but I think more colors would get more people interested in this phone. Although, if you offered me more colors and the obsidian wasn't, I'm always going for the obsidian. There's no question about it. So anyways, going to the next image here, cover display. Again, nice aspect ratio. I think this is going to work great in mobile controllers. No doubt about that. I think it's going to be great. I just love the ratio here. Very nice. Better than the Z Fold series. Then we've got an image showing the rear of the device with the camera module, the cover display on the front there. And then we've got it in what Samsung calls flex mode. I'm sure Google's going to use their other terms, you know, to prevent like copyright infringement or anything like that. But we got this device in flex mode. And I love these devices. Like when you have them partially folded, it kind of reminds you of a miniature laptop. Although when it comes to the Google Pixel Fold, what constantly comes to mind for me is the Nintendo DS. Now, although the Nintendo DS wasn't full screen, it folded. It was like this cool, really cool futuristic device at the time. To me, I was like, this is a little laptop computer. And I've even read people like in the comments, they will compare the Google Pixel Fold to a Nintendo DS. And I think that's what gives this some charm. I gotta be honest, it looks cute. It's a cute looking device. It looks very thin. It just has like a cute, almost gamer aesthetic to it, like a little fun to it. When I think about the Z Fold series, I strictly think professionalism, business person, suit and tie, and that's not a bad thing. But I think this is great that these different devices have their own identity. And by the way, this device starts at $1,799. I've heard a lot of complaints about this as well. I do think Google could have maybe done better and introduced this at a lower price. But there are deals that people don't know about. So I did pre-order this. There is a deal. If you're on Google Fi, you can go through Google Fi. You can buy this device and get $700 in Fi credits. And what they'll do, I believe it's for 2 years, you get about $30 towards your bill. That's how you get your $700 off on your Fold. Of course, you're going to have to pay the complete amount up front, so you get the savings down the road as long as you stay with Google Fi for the 24 months. And I believe it was 24 months. So if you're looking at this device and you're like, $1,799 is too much, but you're a Google Fi user, use the deal. Use the deal. And, you know, if it makes you feel better, take the money that you saved from the Fi bill and just use it to pay the phone as you go. That's a strategy. Or if you have a good trade-in, some of these devices are getting up to $800. I think that's pretty good. But again, it depends on your device. So scrolling down here, we just have some more images. But let's see if we scroll up here. We've got just some features they're covering. Now, another reason I wanted to try the Pixel Fold is so we've got the form factor. We've got the idea that Google is a leader in AI, although I don't know that we'll see too much AI in this device. But then we have the Tensor processor, and this is the G2. And I've heard a lot of talk about it, but I've never tried it, and I want to see, is this thing really that good? What's it like to use it? Will I really even notice anything? So that's interesting. But we've got some other talking points here that Google's going to mention. Split screen lets you do two things at once. I'm hoping that's three things, because on the Z Fold series, you can do, I believe it's three things at once. So hopefully we can do that. But I mean, this is a new device, so there will probably be software updates, that kind of thing. Best camera on a foldable phone. That's a good highlight, especially if you're a content creator or you take pictures and video, even if it's just for hobby or for business. That's certainly a highlight in these days and times. Or you do TikToks or anything like that. Highest rated security features. I'm thinking that's probably debatable. Pairs perfectly with Pixel Buds, watch, and tablet. I don't have those devices. I have basically the Samsung ecosystem. I have the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. I mix these things up a lot. Then I've got the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. So I'm going to be pairing those items with this device. It'll be interesting to see how those items work with a Pixel foldable phone. So they're talking more about the cover display, 5.8 inches. When it's folded, we're going to see the outside display again. That's 5.8 inches, and then we've got the main display. So this terminology is good to know. So the main display is going to be when your device again is unfolded, 7.6 inches. So again, we said this is great for productivity. Another situation this is good for is reading books or information, a news site, anything like that. I think a foldable is definitely ideal for anyone who has a visual impairment, who needs to see things larger, or if you just like consuming content, you like to watch Netflix, or even some games, some games that work great on a tablet, but you don't want a huge tablet, like the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 5 we talked about earlier. That thing's way too big to be used as a tablet from my experience. But then we have Google trying to push guarantees here. And I'm really hoping, if Google's pushing this, the most durable hinge on a foldable, there needs to be a really good warranty then. If you're going to tout that you have the most durable hinge on a foldable, the warranty's got to be good. I don't know what the warranty is here, but I'm hoping that it's at least decent. At least a year. At least a year. And don't try to squirm your way out of it if someone calls in and, you know, something's wrong with the display because of the hinge, or something stopped working because something got into the hinge. I think like Google really just needs to stick to it. If they're going to say most durable hinge on a foldable, need to back it up, Google. Okay, we need to back it up. We have a card. It looks like we could flip around here. It's just showing the foldable in action. Now there was something. It's showing that hinge in action is what I'm saying. Now there is something interesting that I've heard. This device seems to unfold to about 176 degrees, which isn't really noticeable when you're holding it, but from what I heard, when you place it on a flat surface, it's definitely noticeable. And I've also heard that if you want to get it closer to 180 degrees, you kind of have to force it a little until it clicks into place. I don't know how I feel about that. It'll be interesting to see when we finally get it. And then we have the thinnest foldable of all. I don't really care about that too much. In fact, it kind of worries me a little bit when it comes to, I guess you'd call the bendability of the device. I would be okay if it's a little thicker. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, it's too chunky. I mean, if it's not like this, we're good. If it's like this, we might be getting a little too thin. I would rather, if it's fairly thick, that's fine. I'm fine with it. But we do have the camera module that sticks out here a little bit. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Z Fold series, although I'm not too sure that the camera module sticks out too much on this device. I never really see it because I have a case, which is not really, when I say that, it's not a huge concern because, I'm going to definitely have a case on this. You have to have a case on a foldable. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you are buying this device, do not have a case, okay? There are 2 prerequisites, okay? You need to have a case. The cover display is going to be exposed most of the time. Have a case with a screen protector or buy a screen protector. Then you have the hinge. And I don't care what they say about water resistance or dust resistance. I've learned from experience, have a cover on that hinge too. And not just a piece of adhesive. They sell adhesive like tape kits you can put on it. No, you want an actual hinge protection on the case like we have here on the Z Fold 3. It's magnetized. It keeps that hinge protected. And it's going to reduce the chances that dust gets in there, moisture gets in there. It's going to prevent it from getting scratched up. Because looking at the hinge on the Pixel Fold here, it reminds me of the Z Fold series. It's kind of shiny. You don't want that getting scratched up. So you definitely want hinge protection. You want all-around protection. Then you want a screen protector for that cover display. You don't want that getting messed up. So they're pointing more to the G2 custom-made for Pixel Google sensor. G2 makes Pixel Fold fast and secure with smooth multitasking and video streaming. And it brings Google AI. This is the highlight here. It brings Google AI to Pixel with features like live translate using both screens. Again, this is a reason I'm returning to the Pixel line. I definitely... It's factual. Google is a top player in this growing AI industry. And that's a good enough reason to think about switching from a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold device to a Pixel Fold device. Now we just have to hope that the quality, the Google engineering, which is interesting because the Pixel Fold isn't completely made by Google. It's made from it's made by many manufacturers here, ideally. And probably Samsung has a tie-in here from what I hear. But we're hoping that the quality is better than the Z Fold series or comparable. Massive upgrade for multitasking. Again, there's a demonstration here. We have 2 apps being used. I 100% agree there. Then we have translation with dual screen. I would be interested to try that. I don't know that I'll actually use it much, even though on my job I do deal with a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. We have Spanish translation going on here. An interesting note, coming fall 2023. So this will be later in the year anyways. If Google doesn't have normal Google behavior, even though they'll say fall 2023, look at the Pixel Fold. This has been going on for years with this device, and it's finally coming. I don't necessarily take for word what Google's advertising here when they say something's coming. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll see. We'll see about that. Unfold a beautiful immersive display. Let's see, from movie time to video calls. That's actually another good reason to get a foldable device if you do video calls. Very, very good device for this reason. Magnificent 7.6-inch OLED display with the dynamic refresh rate keeps your content smooth from beginning to end. So this is going to be a good content device too. Watch YouTube on the big display and control it with your voice. But what I also like, they have an image here, and I'm guessing they're watching YouTube, but it's the Google Pixel Fold is kind of in a flex mode. Again, these are all terms that Samsung uses for their devices. So Maybe it looks like Google's calling this something different here, and they're saying in tabletop or tent mode. So they're calling it something a little different than flex mode. But with the device partially folded, and again, this is hard to describe if you're listening, but imagine the Pixel Fold kind of folded like a laptop. So it's like folded like between, it's folded almost 90 degrees. The top is going to display the content, and the bottom is going to have playback controls. I really like that. But I think you also have the ability to go full screen even when the device is flexed, or for Google when it's in tabletop mode. I would have to experiment with this to know what tabletop and tent mode look like. I don't think this will work in tent mode though, because I think tent mode would use the cover display because the device will be oriented like a tent. Which these different modes are great. I found them personally useful if you're laying in bed on your side, and you know, when you have like a slab of glass for a phone, you have to prop the phone up or hold the phone with one hand while you're sleeping on your side, and it's just not comfortable. This is a plus of a foldable. You can set it up in tent mode, tabletop mode, flex mode, whatever you want to call it, and it just kind of stands. And what's also nice about that is you can use the camera like this too. So the phone becomes its own camera stand, which is really nice too. You can place this on a surface. It doesn't have to be propped up against something. You don't have to try to perfectly balance it in the air while you try to record. You just fold the phone slightly. Best camera on a foldable phone. We've got some reoccurring points, some specs here. And we're going to go over all of this stuff more in detail when we actually receive the device. More camera information. There is a huge, when it comes to Pixels, there is a huge emphasis on camera. A VPN is included. Extra online protection with no cost. We've got to be careful with that, because even if it says no cost at the moment, Google tends to kind of roll these things, and all these tech companies tend to roll these things eventually into subscription plans. Excuse me. And then we have the Pixel Fold next to their other devices, the Pixel 7 Pro, Pixel 7. But let's see if there's anything else as we scroll down here. So this is just a spec comparison. They're showing their other devices, their Pixel Tablet, Pixel Watch, Pixel Buds Pro. All this stuff here. Let's see if there's anything interesting to talk about tech specs wise. But before we go any further, so I did pre-order this, again, Obsidian, and this unit is available in 2 storage spec sizes. I went with the biggest because I'm a content creator. So as we go through this tech page, this is actually like how I would spec this out myself. And you can kind of get an idea of how you can spec this out too. So again, we've got the 2 color options, porcelain and obsidian. Again, I went with the obsidian. We've got some tech specs here. If you're interested, this has 12 gigs of RAM, and the storage options are 256 and 512. I went with the 512. Again, I'm a content creator. You can store your photos and video in the cloud, but now there's subscription services for that. And not to go on a tangent here, but I think that this is the future of everything. Everything is subscription services, which is disappointing. I miss the days where you just bought something, you paid, and maybe you paid once and that was it. But that's not profitable for these companies. They need subscription services. And I think it's going to start with technology companies, and it's going to move into other areas. There's already talks of it moving into cars. I could see it moving into fast food, all kinds of different things here. So to keep this very simple, if you're going to spec this out, that's really, the only options you have: the color choice and the internal storage size. In the box, you're going to get USB-C to USB-C cable, USB 2.0, a quick start guide. Normally get like a SIM tool, definitely. A quick switch adapter. I think that's the USB-C to USB-A adapter that's normally included with the Pixel phones. Security and OS updates, 5 years of Pixel updates. That's good. So if you get this thing in this year, 2023, it'll be supported until 2028. I don't even want to know what the future is going to be like in 2028. Materials, this is very important. Scratch resistant Corning Gorilla Glass Victus cover glass Corning. So this is very durable glass. IPX8 water resistant. We're going to cover this more in detail. Fingerprint resistant coating, that's huge. I'm hoping that relates to the main display for the Pixel Fold. I could tell you when you're using the Z Fold series, that main display, it gets a lot of fingerprints on it, especially if your hands are sweaty or oily for the day. It's going to get really fingerprinted. It's going to be a crime scene investigation. Crime scene investigator would love these devices. They would know who did the crime, when, what temperature it was, all those variables. Mirror polished stainless steel hinge. Again, this is why one of the reasons you want to have that hinge protection. You don't want that mirror polished stainless steel hinge getting scratched up. Okay, you're paying a lot of money for this device. Don't cheap out on the case. Get the hinge protection. And then disappoint in here, a 1-year warranty. For, again, you can get $700 off of this device essentially. But it's basically a $1,800 device before tax. And after tax, you're over $2,000. 1 year, this is very questionable. I don't know why they do this. But that's what they do. Just better visualization of what's in the box here. Other reason I am so glad to return to the Pixel line. The Z Fold series has been good. There is a little con here. My Z Fold 4, which I'm going to take to iFix tomorrow to get evaluated. The cover display turns on, but it doesn't respond to touch. So that's kind of like a side note. But that aside, the Z Fold series it's a good experience. It's not great. I don't like the bloatware on it. That is a con with Samsung devices. You'll hear people talk about that. I've had to hide some of the Samsung apps with the Nova launcher. Some of them I just can't hide, or I've just kind of given up on. But with the Google Pixel Fold, you ideally, just like the other Pixels, you should get a pure experience. I am very excited to see that once again. Just have the bare minimum apps, nothing else extra. Very, very excited here. And if we scroll down here, that's about it. That's about it. So as we wait for the Pixel Fold, I do want to kind of start closing the video here, the podcast. I want to say I was a little nervous because just yesterday, I had checked, because, I'm a techie. Let's be honest, we're nerds. If you're watching this video, you're a techie, you're a nerd, you're a geek. We're all geeking out together. That's what this podcast is about. That's what this YouTube video is all about. We're just here to enjoy a nice long talk about technology, because what other thing would we possibly be doing? This is what we do. But I got nervous yesterday. Again, I pre-ordered this device and it got pushed back 2 months. I don't know for what reason. I'm like thinking, okay, it's not ready. It's not ready. Or there's a supply chain issue, which I prefer to it not being ready. My only concern here is durability. And if this device is actually ready, please be ready. It's been delayed so much. Please be a good, solid, ready device. But I did check yesterday. It was delayed back 2 months. 2 months. Thankfully, I checked today again, and it went back to the original time. I also checked with another friend. Theirs was delayed 2 months yesterday, but it seems like theirs went back to the regular time. I don't know what's going on over there. What's going on over there, Google? Whatever is going on, please fix it. Don't play with our emotions like this. But that's it for this content today, for this episode. I really wanted to do like an actual podcast. I'm hoping that you're liking the vibe here. I'm working on trying to be focused, not jump around here. Hopefully I didn't jump around too much. But if you are watching this on YouTube and enjoyed it and found it useful, as always, please leave a like. If you have any questions or comments, as always, drop those down below. Now, as always, there are 3 ways you can support this content. The first way is to click on the Amazon storefront link in the description below. There you'll find items that I have bought or would buy. The next way to show your support is just by sharing this content with someone who might enjoy it or find it useful. And the last way you can show your support if you're watching on YouTube is by clicking the subscribe button. Now, liking and subscribing are important for new viewers and listeners, because if new viewers and listeners see likes and subscribers, they're going to think that the content is helpful, useful, and worth watching. But also, that is your way to vote on whether you like the content. But that is pretty much it for today's content. I really need to work on that outro. It didn't go like how it normally goes. If you've been watching a YouTube video, I got a few things backwards there. But this is the part of the flow. We don't want this to feel scripted. We want it to feel normal. But anyways, that is it for today's content. Thanks for watching, and as always, Leon checking out.